Hi everybody, I'm Mark Walters of BigFanboy.com, and this man is Stephen Amell. Let's give him a big hand.
Is that the name of your website, really?
It is the name of my website.
That's an awesome name for a website.
Thank you. BigFanboy.com, because you can't tell where that came from. We just had Stephen in Dallas not long ago, and I can honestly say that it's always refreshing when you meet someone like you that is genuinely very nice and appreciative of your fans. And, so you are the genuine. you were the genuine article. But thank you very much for coming to Fan Expo here in Vancouver. It's very cool to have you here.
You know, for people that don't know, I assume most people do, but we filmed in Vancouver, so it just seemed like a natural fit.
Let's kind of kick this off and ask some of the more obvious questions, like how did the role come about for you on Arrow? I mean, obviously, we were talking earlier about, you know, my buddy Tom Jane, you were on Hung.
Yep.
Any Hung fans in the audience? All right, 5 of you, great. That's why it's not on anymore, so no, I'm just kidding. But I really enjoyed you on that show, and then when I saw you got cast in Arrow, I thought, oh, this is great. This is a guy that I can see really like sinking his teeth into this thing.
Yeah, Hung was actually one of the shows that got me Arrow, because I had played a lot of villains and a lot of guys that reminded David Nutter, who directed our pilot, of the darker side of the Oliver Queen character. But then I played Jason on Hung, and he was this lovable, goofy, naive hooker, and it was that side of my personality that really attracted David Nutter to me. So Hung got canceled in December. I was working on Private Practice, and that was going great, and they were starting to evolve my character more in the storylines. And then I got cast in Arrow, and I was quickly mugged on Private Practice and sent packing.
When you got this role, how familiar were you with the character of Green Arrow in DC Comics?
I was not familiar at all. I had never seen Smallville. I was a huge. I mean, I was always a DC guy growing up. I went through a comics phase where I read a lot of Lobo. I read a lot of Superman. I read a lot of Superman. I read a lot of Spawn, which I know is not DC. But then I got to work with Michael Jai White eventually, so that was cool. But no, I was not familiar.
Yeah.
I became familiar after the pilot. I waited until after the pilot to really get into the reading.
Now, I know that you do a lot of your own stunts on this show, pretty much all of it, almost.
I do much more than they're comfortable with me doing.
And when I watch the behind the scenes and I see you doing these choreographed fights, I genuinely worry about you, because I think you're gonna get hurt really bad on one of these shows at some point.
We are very thorough in preparing me for stunts. There's some that they just won't let me do, as much as I complain. But you know, the only time that I ever really hurt myself is when you're doing these choreographed fights. Obviously, when you swing and you hit something, you're not actually punching the person. And what ends up happening is you swing as hard as you can with your right hand, you don't hit anything, and then all the blood shoots into your fingers, and it just throbs and throbs and throbs, and then all the muscles in your back hurt. But no, I've been pretty lucky with injuries so far. Bumps and bruises, and my shin and calf were really distorted at one point last year, but I've been pretty lucky.
When you have like a big complicated fight scene, do they give you a day of rest, like after you have to go through? Because that's a lot of choreography. They never do. No. On to the next thing.
On to the next.
Wow.
No, it's when we have a big fight scene, our fight choreographer, James Bamford, the stunt team, my double Simon, John Kralt, his sort of stuntman extraordinaire, they will film what they call previs for the fight, and I mean, they really do it up, because they cut the whole thing together and they ship that off to the editor, and that's actually how they assemble our fights. It's how they assemble our very best fights, because the guys that are making them know what's going to look best on camera. And the videos are really funny. Some of them go online. What you don't see online is you don't see the stunt doubles delivering some of the worst acting you will ever see. You have failed the city.
Has there been a particular moment on any of these episodes that really was like a personal favorite moment for you? Something where you were like, God, that was just so much fun to do that.
Fighting wise?
Or anything on any of the episodes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I have all of my favorite moments. I was, you know, I like watching the show. You know, as a fan, I like seeing the reveals that don't involve my character. Like I loved when Slade Wilson showed up in The Present this year. I thought that was a really cool moment. And if I'm spoiling it for you, you're at the wrong panel. But no, I've had a bunch of favorite moments this year. We actually have a series of flashbacks coming up in the episode that's actually airing this Wednesday, and the flashbacks are from 7 years prior to when our story is taking place right now. It's the furthest that we've ever gone in the flashbacks. We got to shoot a series of scenes that are some of my favorites. But you have your favorite moments. It's difficult to think about what they are right now because we just wrapped the second season on Friday morning, so I'm just sort of putting all of it into perspective.
Without giving us like any major spoilers, can you tell us what to expect from like those last couple episodes?
The episode that we have coming up on Wednesday night is it's a cataclysmic episode for the series, and it leads into our final 3 episodes, which take place over the course of one night. I'm exhausted. We've been starting at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and God bless Vancouver, but when the sun doesn't start going down until like 9 o'clock at night, it makes my job a lot tougher. But the final 3 episodes, we wanted them to really feel like an event, and we attempt 2 things in our season finale that I have never seen on television before.
Wow. All right. I can't wait. We want this to be about you guys because I know you guys probably have a lot of burning questions. So I believe there is a microphone over here, and we have someone that's going to line you guys up. So if you want to come over here and set up on the microphone, and we'll take some audience questions from you. Please, no personal questions, because that could get ugly.
Okay.
Unless you want.
Yeah.
Do we have our first audience question? Or am I jumping the gun? Oh, here we go.
Hi, Stephen. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your Facebook fan page. It is so great to be able to have you
Thank you.
And I don't even know if you can answer this question, but I don't think we've ever actually heard Sarah called Canary. And there's interviews with Katie Cassidy talking about her becoming Canary and with Wendy Murka.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if we can expect to see the change where Laurel Lance, the actual Black Canary, comes into play.
What was your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, I can't answer that question.
That's
You have another question?
Thank
No,
you.
I know it was always, the producer said at Comic-Con this year that this year we were exploring the origin of the Black Canary story. And that's what this has been. Much like, even though I came back from the island, you know, with the hood and with the costume and fully formed, we never called my character Arrow or Green Arrow in season 1, and we've moved that direction in season 2. So this season has been about the origin of the Canary story, but very much just the origin.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey Stephen, I was just wondering what any future ways you'd like the show to go. Like I know in the comics, Oliver was mayor at one point, the public knew his identity, you know. Any certain things you'd like to see them do upcoming?
Both of the things that you have mentioned are things that are super interesting aspects of the show. I would love the Oliver Queen character to be a little bit more of a public figure. I like playing that character, and I think that at some point on the show it would be great for Oliver to just announce that he's the Green Arrow and then look at everybody and say, "What are you going to do about it?" I mean, that would be a really interesting twist that we could play.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up.
What was your inspiration for your character from the beginning?
With the pilot, it was really important that I trust David Nutter in particular, who is the greatest pilot director in the history of modern television. I mean, I think he's had, if The Flash goes to series, that'll be his 17th pilot taken to series. He did Arrow, Supernatural, Smallville, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, The Mentalist, The X-Files, the list goes on and on and on. And he knows how to craft an episode that introduces characters, tells an interesting story, and makes the audience want to watch another 199 episodes of the show. So it just behooved me to listen to everything that he said. And I'll never forget, our very first day filming was the scene where I'm being interrogated. And if this is a spoiler, definitely don't. I was being interrogated, and he had this very, very specific directive that when I finally make the change and I tell these guys that I'm going to kill them, it's like, I want you to look up. I want you to look up very, very slowly and really tilt your eyes up. He said, this will be the image that is a transitional moment in the trailer. And he already knew these things, having not even gotten a piece of my coverage yet. So I just listened to David and crossed my fingers and hoped it didn't suck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It did not.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen. I was wondering, because you and various cast members post like the goofiest selfies.
Yeah.
Is there a really big memory you have that's like really funny?
You know, the first year, maybe our 4th or 5th episode, I was supposed to be having this the show was incredibly serious at the beginning, and I was supposed to be having this very serious moment, and David Ramsey was supposed to come up and whisper something to me. And it wasn't even scripted what he was supposed to whisper, it was just him passing me information, and he said the filthiest thing in my ear that I've ever heard in my entire life. And it was like, we didn't even break into telling jokes on set. We went from 0 to 100, and this horrible, horrible thing that he said in my ear that I will never forget for the rest of my life, and that I will not repeat right now. And from that point forward, we've just been a group that likes to have fun. I mean, shooting a season of the show is 189 shoot days for us, and some of them are fun, most of them are fun, some of them are tedious, and some of them you're really incredibly tired. And if you don't have a good inter-cast relationship and a good relationship with the crew, the people that you're spending all this time with, then I pity any show like that. So we try to have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm so happy that I want to thank you and Manu when he's on tomorrow, for finally bringing DC Universe to live action. It hasn't been done properly from comic book conception to live action. DC movies haven't really been able to do it. And unfortunately, Smallville was more of a teen drama than Superman.
No comment.
I'm curious because it hasn't come up yet. Do you actually shoot that bow, the compound bow, the one that you use in the 2nd season?
Yeah.
How fast can you actually fire that thing?
Not as fast as I do on the show. I mean, one of the unfortunate things about a show with respect to archery is there is no safe way to shoot a bow and arrow. I mean, with guns are safe. You clear the gun, you shoot blanks, you add in a muzzle flash after in post-production. With arrows, I'm grabbing nothing, I'm knocking nothing, and I'm firing nothing. We have like a 12-page safety bulletin when it comes to bows and arrows on set. So I practice in my off time so that all the elements of archery that should be there are there, but I can't quite pull a knock that fast. No, that's actually a superpower. Called visual effects. Thank you.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
So you've been here quite a while for 2 seasons now, which is pretty much 2 years. So that pretty much makes you an honorary Vancouver, right?
Yes, it does.
I'm just wondering, so since Vancouver, we're also known for our rain. Do you ever get also Vancouver kind of syndrome, rain syndrome?
Oh, you know what? I don't mind the rain because it's awful to film in, but really bad weather looks really good on screen. And so, we'll have shots where, they'll light it so that sometimes you can't tell that it's raining, and then sometimes they'll light it so that it looks like a torrential downpour. And no, I've become very comfortable and found a really nice home in Vancouver. It's, my family, we go to Whistler, sometimes on the weekends in the summer. We are going to go explore in Kelowna this year, I think. I mean, we've become big fans of British Columbia, and I'm Canadian, but I had never actually set foot in Vancouver, save for one weekend before it actually came up and started shooting here. So it's been a really neat experience.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Steven.
Hi.
You guys are on an 8-day shooting schedule, right?
Yes.
Do you shoot the flashbacks as part of those 8 days, or do you front load your whole season?
You mean, do I grow that terrible hair at the beginning of the season? No. The flashbacks happen. The flashbacks happen as we shoot the episodes. I actually had a couple of days this year where I started the day as Island Oliver. I got the wig off and whatever off. I went into present day Oliver, and then I actually had to change into the aero suit and shoot scenes. So it keeps me focused and attentive to what's going on in the story.
Yeah, it's intense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
Since you mentioned earlier on that you started looking at the DC universe, I was all excited by having Tara Strong's little cameo recently. Has there been any characters in the universe that you've been hoping to have little cameos added into the show?
I didn't know a great deal about Harley Quinn until Harley Quinn or some iteration thereof was on the show, and the internet exploded. And I know that was a really exciting moment for the producers of the show, who are big fans of not only DC, but particularly the Batman universe. And I think having Harley Quinn on the show, and it was Harley Quinn, was awesome. I hope to see her again. It's working with DC has been great, because when they're kind of like the parents and you're kind of like the new kid that just got his license. And in the first season, they're like, yeah, we'll let you take the car out. We're coming with you, and you can only go around the block. And in the second season, it's been more like, here are the car keys. Don't stay out too late. Don't dent it or do anything. And I feel like we've taken care of the car so far. To take that analogy forward, maybe they will buy us our own car soon. But it's been great. Any time that we can bring in the DC universe and make the show richer that way, it serves everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
Before I give my question, I just want to say this, how important the show is to me and my brother. This has been like our bonding show, so it means so much to me to have you here.
Okay.
And he's sadly unable to be here.
I just want to say hi.
I just wanted to ask, what was it like working with John Barrowman, a.k.a. Jack Harkness from Doctor Who?
Very cold and very wet. That was our biggest scene together. I was freezing and he was dumping water on me and I was chained up. It's been great. Having John on the show, and it got announced recently, he's coming back towards the latter part of our season, has been great, because he was so generous to me and so giving, and I was able to go to him for advice when we were shooting the episode where he's revealed as the Dark Archer. We shot all night in this warehouse, and the setups were very particular, so we had a lot of downtime. And I just got to bounce a ton of questions off him, and he was so generous and funny and thoughtful with his responses. It's been a huge help for me. So having him on the show, I just hope I get to work with him more. we haven't done enough stuff together. So it's been great though.
Thank you.
Thank
Also,
you.
really quickly, I just wanted to ask, I'm actually going to Victoria later this afternoon, so I'm going to miss your photo op. Would I be able to get a hug with you or something?
I'll tell you, at the end of the panel, you come up, I'll give you a hug.
Yes, thank you so much.
Nobody else.
For one time.
Nobody else gets to ask.
It's a one-time thing. The day's only, there's only so many hours in the day.
Hi, Stephen. Hey. My friends and I often play a drinking game while we're watching Arrow.
I can't publicly endorse this, you understand? Okay.
The rules including whenever you take your shirt off, anytime, such as 5 years ago, season 1, whenever you kill the dude.
Right.
But the question was, do you have any suggestions for new rules we can add to our drinking game?
Remember, you're not endorsing this.
My first question for you is, based on that criteria,
Very drunk.
how are you still alive? Tell you what, somebody posted I actually put it on my Facebook page, someone wrote out an Arrow drinking game, okay? Somebody find it, please post it, and I'll repost it for ideas that I'm not actually endorsing, but I think that that's really fun. It's anytime, being serious, as someone that has been known to enjoy an adult beverage or two myself, and anytime people watch the show and there's some sort of community involved, it really means a lot. Whether it's friends creating a game, or it's mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, families, whatever. That's one of the coolest things to hear. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't drive.
Hello.
Hi.
I was curious because we've had a really great supporting cast on the show, and I've been noticing recently that Felicity has been getting into more and more trouble as the episodes go along, and I'm curious to know if there's going to be any more sort of big scenes where she gets into a lot of trouble.
What was your name?
Emily.
Emily, I can't answer that. I know that, Felicity has been... I know that the writers wanted to really explore Felicity's backstory this year. We got a little bit of a taste of it in, I believe it was our 13th episode. And I know that the idea is to do more of that and to flesh out more of that character. But yeah, if it's been a couple of episodes since Felicity got herself into trouble, you can bet pretty soon that Felicity will get herself into trouble.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Hey. As a fellow archer, I really like trick arrows, and Green Arrow, or the Arrow, has a lot of trick arrows, and can we look forward to seeing any other of his trick arrows of boxing?
Like the boxing glove arrow?
Yes, like that. Can you not answer that?
No, that I can't answer. I mean, Andrew Kreisberg, who's one of our executive producers, is a massive, he's a massive fan of the show and fan of Green Arrow. Wrote Green Arrow comic books before there was a Green Arrow television show. And he always wants that stuff. Like, in our 5th episode, I made a joke about Katie being in fishnets, and I've never seen somebody so happy in their entire life as when he heard that dialogue delivered for the first time in the table read. He literally pumped his fist. So, all of the iconic elements of the Green Arrow character, and yes, I would include the boxing glove arrow in that iconography, I would imagine at one point or another they will be on our show.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Captain?
Don't let the Stu fool you. The best comic book show is on Wednesday nights.
Thank you.
Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, Ben Affleck, they know you're going to be in Justice League, right?
I don't know. I know that I talked about this well before. When we got permission to bring Barry Allen onto the show, we had to get permission at Warner Brothers, through Warner Brothers in DC, all the way to Chris Nolan, who's he's the godfather of the feature side of DC Entertainment. So I would love to be a part of the DC universe across television into film, but I don't want it to seem like that will justify the show. I want the Arrow show to stand on its own, and then from there forward, whatever happens, happens. But that'd be pretty cool.
You should all write DC right now.
Stuff like that matters. Thank you.
See you on the big screen.
Thanks, man.
Hello, Steven.
Robin.
I was just wondering, what is the weirdest thing you've been asked to sign?
The day's still young.
I met a guy yesterday. His name was it Connor? Is he here? May not have known. He got the dragon tattoo on his shoulder, on his back left shoulder, the tattoo that I have that Shadow has as well. And there he is. How you doing, man? What was your name? Brian. Ryan. That was awesome and weird, but awesome. But that suggests that weird is actually a bad thing. I like weird. Weird is my ballpark. So that's the fact that he got that tattoo is pretty cool. I haven't signed it yet. Later. Attaboy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
You're my favorite. This is like my favorite TV show. So I was wondering, what do you prefer, compound or recurve?
The compound is cooler in so much as when you pull the compound back, it basically settles there. So if I'm interrogating somebody in a scene and having to hold it back, my arms don't start shaking by the fourth take. The compound is also meaner for fighting, like punching people in the face. But the recurve was cooler for doing superfluous, unnecessary tricks. Like twirling it around my hand or something like that. I missed the recurve. The recurve was more fun. The compound is meaner.
I also shoot compound.
Which one do you like better? Nice. Nice.
Hi.
Hey.
What? Was there anything that okay.
I'm really nervous up here too.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. What made you want to become an actor?
That's a good question. I was in Toronto in 2009, and I had been acting for 4 or 5 years with sort of intermittent success. I met a couple of Rent-A-Goldie fans here too, which was fun.
Right here.
There you go. All right, they're both here. Anyway, I had sort of middling success. And then I got out of a very long-term relationship and decided that I was going to take stock of the things in my life that were really important to me. And the list basically boiled down to family, friends, and acting. Really love acting. And shortly thereafter, I moved to Los Angeles. I got to Los Angeles February 1st, 2010, and I got cast as Oliver Queen February 1st, 2012. So that was it. That was the moment.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. First, I want to say that you do a really good job on Arrow. It really fills the void for the disappointment of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, jeez.
Does anyone agree? No?
Woo!
I guess I'm
No comment.
how do you feel about answering some very tough questions?
I'm not sure yet.
It's not what anyone thinks it is.
Okay.
I promise you. Okay. Out of the 3 clicks, do you see yourself as a brony, a twihard, or a believer?
What's a brony?
It is something.
That's a whole other panel, man. My Little Pony fans.
Oh, My Little Pony fans? Oh, definitely a brony. Nope.
No? Okay.
Thank you, man.
All right, thank you.
It's going to be on your IMDb bio now. Yes.
Hi. So I was just wondering, you do the salmon run, I think it's called, in the title sequence of Arrow. How hard did you have to train to be able to do that?
I was doing all the parkour just for the one parkour sequence that we have in the pilot, because that was one of the first things that was written in. Oliver does parkour. And while I was there, our director, David Nutter, again, he found out that the salmon ladder was at this gym that I was training at. He just asked me if I could do it. I guess. And it came pretty quickly. I didn't used to go to the gym before I got cast as Oliver, and the one thing that I had in my apartment in Hollywood was a chin-up bar. So I was really good at the chin-up aspect, and then the whole taking the bar off the rung and putting it to another bar thing came pretty quick. It's like a dance move.
Cool. I just want to say you're probably my favorite casting for Green Arrow, and I really loved the part and where you've taken it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Have you had any, before Arrow, did you have any previous archery experience?
Is that Nissa?
Yes.
Hey, Nissa.
Hi. And do you have any interesting stories about the learning process of archery on your show?
I had never done archery before. I did it one time, 12 years old, and that was one of the very first things that I did when I got to Vancouver. I got to Vancouver about 3 or 4 weeks before we started shooting the show, and Patricia Gonsalves, who's the archery coach, we worked together every day. And the very first thing that she did, I've told this story a bunch of times, but it remains funny to me, is she sat me down and showed me a really long mashup of all the ways that archery has been done incorrectly in film and television. And she just announced that I would not be doing that. And apparently, there is a derogatory term in the archery community called legolosing. And Patricia has she's not, I'd like her to be scared of me, but she's not. She comes up to me at like 3 o'clock in the morning when we're doing a fight sequence and I'm exhausted and yells at me to get my elbow up, or just, she's very, very nitpicky. In the best possible way. I'm glad that she's there. Thank you.
Hey, Steven.
Hey.
3 questions. 1, why did you change your cousin's show, Smart People, on Monday instead of Wednesday when your show's on Wednesday?
Simple answer right there, I don't run the network. I have no idea.
And second, the question earlier when someone said about Felicia, the guy that she liked got electrocuted back in Chicago. Do you know where the kind of story connected to that one?
Sorry, say again?
No, the Felicia, what's her name?
Felicity?
The guy that she liked.
Barry, because she liked Barry, and then he got, right, and then he got electrocuted.
Yeah.
Struck by lightning.
Did anything going on with that one?
There's a lot going on with Barry Allen at the moment. There's a lot. He's still in a coma, but yeah, there's a lot going on with him.
They're going to have some power connected to that?
I would imagine so.
And also,
Don't spoil it.
Okay, and are there going to be a red arrow in some part?
I would imagine that hopefully that's where Roy's journey takes him, but
yeah.
We shall see. Hi.
What are your favorite pizza toppings?
I'm sorry, there's no personal questions.
What is the, oh God, there's the one, rebellious tomato. Okay, just in general, it's a Vancouver pizza joint. Tell them I sent you, maybe they'll give me a discount eventually. It's really expensive, sliced tomato is good. I like, chicken? I like a good gluten-free crust. Otherwise, if they can do it, it's a big thing for me. Pineapples, tomatoes, lots of meat, stuff like that. You're welcome.
Hey, Steven.
Hey.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Oh, that's good. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry now.
Same here, Joe. I'm being hungry as well.
Yeah.
Do you have a scene that is really difficult to do, like in the series Arrow?
Yeah, well, I've filmed two incredibly difficult scenes, you know, for me on the show. One of them being Tommy's final scene in the first season, and again we have a brutal scene coming up that it's always tough when you work with people for a while and then you're not working with them anymore. It's difficult because oftentimes you have to divorce the things that you're feeling in real life when you make bonds with these people from what's actually happening in the scene. Like my character might be happy somebody's dying, and I'm very sad. So those are always tough.
So I guess no surprise, but season 3 is a go, right?
Oh yeah, season 3 is happening. Big
Awesome.
time. Oh yeah.
Good luck, Steven.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, I'm just wondering if Barry Allen is going to come back as the Flash later on this season.
Barry's not coming back to our show this year, as far as I know. Originally, he was going to be in our 20th episode, but then, not to pull the curtain too far back, but people were so happy with the way Grant played the Barry Allen character that they decided to make it its own pilot. So if that series happens, they'll be on the fall schedule. But I would keep an eye on things happening around the finale for the Barry Allen character.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi there.
Hey.
So I was flipping through Netflix one day and watching a comedy called Blue Mountain State, and yourself playing Travis in the first season.
That's right.
And that seems like a very fun set and a very fun cast to be around, same with the Arrow cast.
Yeah.
So I was curious, do you have any stories from not just Blue Mountain State or Arrow itself, but your many casts you've been with? Any funny stories from filming?
What's the funniest? I mean, just with Arrow, just goofing around. I mean, David Ramsey and I'm really not sure how we ever get anything done. You know, we're just constantly goofing on each other and going back and forth. And no, it's with respect to Blue Mountain State, the episodes that you saw, all my scenes with Alan Richardson, who played Aquaman at one point, I think. All that stuff is not scripted. All that stuff, when he's singing to me and saying, best friends for life, and stuff like that was not in the script. And I was trying not to laugh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left, so we're going to try to knock these out real quick.
I think that's more on me than it is on them.
Hi, Steve. I was just wondering, if you could be any other hero besides Arrow or villain, who would you be and why?
Contractually, I can't pick Batman. You know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what? The Riddler. I always liked the Riddler growing up, and you know, it hasn't been done in the modern incarnation of the Batman world, unless you consider 1995 modern, which I do not. And although I did like Batman Forever when it came out. It hasn't aged very well, but I liked it when it came out. And, yeah, the Riddler.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Green Arrow is a well-known character. How did you approach the character to make it your own? And will we ever see Olicity happen?
Two very different questions. You know, it's very important when you're playing a character to not do an impersonation of what anybody else has done. So it was incredibly important for me to just focus on what was on the page for the pilot, what I knew about the character. It's up to me to create a backstory that doesn't even exist on the page. And as far as Oliver and Felicity goes, I mean, it's just cool that the fans, that a segment of the fans for the show wanted to happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen, man. I don't know these things.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I do, but I'm not gonna say.
Hey, Stephen.
Hi.
Well, there have been many references to like Nightwing made on the show and Bloodhaven. And,
Yeah.
Like, Barry Allen and like his nephew or later becomes the Flash or Kid Flash, and then there's Speedy. So is there like gonna be like crossovers with Nightwing, Speedy, Flash, stuff like that?
I know it's cool to have Bloodhaven exist in our universe. People love the Nightwing character; they love it a lot. So I don't know. It depends on what DC would let us do. I know that if we got the green light to use Nightwing, he would be written into an episode in like 2.3 seconds. So we'll see.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen.
Hey, man.
We met yesterday. We have the same birthday.
You're a year younger.
Yeah.
Right?
You, me, and Enrique Iglesias.
Is that true?
That's true.
Do you know that our birthday is National Outdoor Intercourse Day?
My question for you is...
That's true, by the way.
When explaining to friends my interest in the Green Arrow character, easily comes across as a lot of similarities with the Batman character. And, the sidekick and the rich playboy, things like that. What can I tell my friends as the defining sort of signature characteristic only belonging to Arrow, maybe with his motivations, as opposed to donning the cape, with tragedy and trying to not let that happen to anyone else ever again? What makes Arrow put the hood on it at night?
Well, that's actually what we've been really trying to explore in the series. Through our first season, it was revenge. And through our second season, it's trying to become a hero, doing it to honor people. I think the thing that we get into with the Arrow character, and the good thing is with our show is that as we move through it, there's an idea of moving more towards the iconography of the character that people know from the comic books. Whether or not that includes a weird goatee, I'm not sure. But I would say that the thing that separates Oliver Queen from Bruce Wayne would be political motivation and the interest in making a difference in a public forum as Oliver Queen. I think the Bruce Wayne character is sort of relegated to just that playboy persona. He never really steps out as somebody that is interested in the greater good as Bruce Wayne, the public figure. I think Oliver will eventually on the show.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Hey, man. It's the last question. You better make it good.
So now Malcolm Merlin's alive, and
what?
Yeah, he's alive. So is there
He
gonna be a
is?
fight?
Is he here?
Is there going to be a fight between Deathstroke, Dark Archer, and Arrow?
What I always thought would be cool, the short answer is I can't say. The longer answer is I always thought that it would be cool with the Deathstroke character being such a destructive force. And that's been my favorite part of this season, is how awesome Manu Bennett has been, because you are only as good on a superhero show as your villain. The reason that The Dark Knight is the best of the Batman trilogy is because of Heath Ledger. He was incredible. My opinion. I always thought it would be really cool if the Dark Archer and the Green Arrow had to become allies to defeat Deathstroke. Or we could just have a three-way fight. But either option would be pretty epic, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Just to To close this out, I'm curious because this is obviously a big fan convention and people are here because of what they love and they love you and they love the show. What's the thing that you geek out about? What's the thing that like you love as a fan?
I really love to see how people react to the show. John Barrowman always told me that the difference between a second season and a first season in terms of how invested people are in the show is like night and day. And it has been. It's been really motivating and incredible to see how invested people have become in the show. And when I meet people and they bring me a drawing, or they have such a particular question or a theory about the show, or they post something to my Facebook page that is obviously a lot of thought and effort have gone into it, it makes a 189-day shooting season feel like a walk in the park. We know on the show, from the top level to the production assistant is getting paid minimum wage, we know how important the fan base is and how we would have no show to make if we didn't have people to watch it. So that's what I geek out over. I geek out over people loving the show.
Thank you. Stephen,